Okay, you can never climb the tree of success with your hands in your pocket. So quickly this morning, everyone, get out of your bed and start to do something. You can't climb the tree of success putting your hand in your pocket. You must roll up the sleeves, get yourself ready, and do something, do something, do something. Like what the Holy Book says, whatever your hand finds to do, do with all your might. And so let's be committed to what we do. But please and please, whatever success you set for yourself as a target, please don't put your hands in your pocket, because that is not how to achieve it. Hit the ground and hit the ground running. My name is Iharoata. It's now time for us to talk aviation. And as usual, every Monday morning, 8 a.m., we talk about aviation here. We look at the aviation sector. We really, we pick topic by topic, look at what they actually holds for air travelers here, as well as the crew, and everyone here is one big body here. And our regular guest on the program here is the one you see on the screen there, Mr. Godwin N.E.K. And what I always tell you, the program is not just a sort of intra-house dialogue or a monologue where one person just talks. We want to be interactive. The purpose for this discourse is to keep you enlightened so that you will know what is going on around you. The plane is a faithful machine, as we will put it here. And if you don't know what's going on around you, it's not just about getting your ticket cleared, boarding, sitting down, enjoying good music, asking for tea or coffee or juice or whatever here. It goes far beyond that if you must take off successfully and land successfully. Very wonderful morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Very, very good morning, sir.
How was your weekend?
We thank God the weekend was fine, and we're back again.
Wonderful as always.
Quickly this morning, we're having so much to talk about today.
Yes.
What are we going to be looking at?
Environmental causes of aviation stress. There's so much stress in the aviation world, and the pilots and the rest of the
But when they come out, to come and meet with us, they smile.
Yeah, of course.
Everyone is smiling.
Of course.
The air hostess smiles. When anything happened, they played with you. Everyone is smiling.
That's correct. But it's
so they're under stress.
It's a whole lot of hard work going in there, and there's so much to contend with. Both the pilots and the cabin attendants and the rest of them. I mean, flight engineers. There's so much going on, but like you rightly put it, passengers only see smiling faces. But you don't know that each time they touch down and deliver you safely to your destination. They open the door,
everyone is smiling at you.
Yeah.
Please, we hope you will fly with us again.
That's correct. That's a whole lot of hard work that's been done. So we're going to be looking at those environmental causes, those things that give them stress, and how they contend with them, and the efforts made by training, to tune them to the job and ensure that we are safe, as can be all the time. Well, very interestingly, I was on my way to the studio this morning, and I heard on the news that Nigeria is going to be unveiling a national carrier in London. And I had my mixed feelings in the sense that it excited me, because I have been a proponent of national carrier. I did comprehensive work, and I'm sure somebody somewhere is accessing that information on YouTube, on the rise and fall of Nigeria Airways. And therefore, excuse me, if those of us that supported that we should have pride of place, should have national airline in place, there's no reason to have that unveiling take place in London. It should have been here in Abuja. I need to make this clear, and this is my opinion. We should have invited the entire world to Abuja. The ICAO, the IATA.
That means fans will be flying to London now.
The rest of them.
Others will be flying to London.
That's what it means. I am yet to understand the sense in that. This should have been done in Abuja, and we should have hosted the entire aviation world in Abuja. It would have been big news and big story. All the big successful airlines would have sent representatives. It would have boosted our economy. A few hotels, and especially our almighty, Transcorp, would have been bubbling with a lot of business. And then as they bubble, they buy from all their local sources and suppliers and stuff like that. They add to our economy. I do not see why.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Let's pray we actually reason properly. Okay, environmental stress, environmental causes of aviation stress. Clip one very quickly.
That's correct, because we have quite a lot to go. Clip one, I hope we'll be able to run through very quickly. Definition.
Good.
Excuse me, I'm feeling funny this morning with my throat. Stress in aviation is defined as a situation or circumstance that interrupts the normal functioning of an individual, which more often than not causes a threat.
Okay.
All right. A source of stress in aviation, which comes from the environment, is known as environmental stressor. So those sources of stress in aviation as environmental stressors. Okay? Experience has shown that in aviation, environments bring a combination of stressors that are different. That are of different nature and intensity. Take a look at that photograph, and you see those two pilots, chatting, talking to each other. Definitely not in flight. Not in flight. They must have been parked and having their more often than not, except when you're cruising. You really do not have time for this kind of chatting. But when you're cruising, yes, as soon as you get onto autopilot and you are more relaxed. But during takeoff and landing, you have no chance for this kind of sort of talking. All right, that's fine. Let's move to clip two very quickly.
That's clip two here.
Right. Definition continues. Wait a minute. Not definition. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Clip two.
The 5 main environmental stressors.
That's right. In aviation, there are 5 main environmental stressors. Number 1 is time pressure. Number 2, workload and overload, fatigue, noise, and then temperature. Okay. These stressors are so interconnected that the presence of one may cause others to occur.
Okay.
Minimizing the effects of these stressors is the main focus of scientific studies by experts. Let's move quickly to clip 3, please. I will take the number 1, time pressure. Placement of time limit on crew members' tasks and operations create inevitable time pressure. You remember when you get to the airport, they say there's especially in a very in more serious climates where schedule is schedule. If you say this plane is going to be taken off at 7 o'clock, by 6:55, you watch the plane taxiing at the dot of 7 power, and you're blasting off. We haven't gotten there yet with our timing, but that is how time pressure can be on. Yeah, that's why the rest of the world, I hope that someday we'll be able to catch up with such discipline, because it takes a lot of discipline to achieve that. Now, placement of time limit on crew members' tasks and operations create inevitable time pressure. Worldwide demand for high-quality air travel services is increasing, causing airlines around the world to offer additional flights. This puts pressure on crew members to work longer hours on tighter schedules, causing time pressure and likelihood of human error.
That's true.
Studies by experts have found a relationship between response time and error rates. The faster a pilot scans a plane's instrument panel, the less accurate his or her perception will be.
Correct.
Time pressure was found to increase human error 11-fold. Did you hear that?
That's very massive.
Yeah, massive. Although time pressure is impossible to avoid, the goal of researchers, however, is to minimize its resulting human error. Use of checklists is helpful and highly recommended. So we've identified the trouble and we've made recommendations.
That's checklist. That means as you're going to fly, you must check. You must have things you check. If the things are ready, don't just put your brain and be thinking, have I done this, have I done that? Just make your checklist. You tick, and we're good to fly.
Precisely.
Good to fly.
Even the startup, in the cockpit, has its own checklist as well.
But I think this applies to everything. Even here in ITV, if you don't have your checklist, if you don't know, okay, we're going to get set now. Is my rundown ready? Are we going to have these? Do we have a breakout? Do we have the clip 1 to clip 10? Are they all ready for us? When you don't check and everything, you just go into pressure.
That's correct. Definitely, definitely. Now, the number 2 is workload and overload.
That's clip 3 now.
Yes, clip 4.
Clip 4.
Clip 4. Let's quickly take a look at clip 4. Workload and overload. When amount of work exceeds a pilot's maximum working capacity, workload and overload occurs. Experts maintain that this is the most serious environmental cause of aviation stress. They also say that there is a strong relationship between workload and stress level. Good. I agree with that. When pilots get new jobs, they start by flying unfamiliar airplanes at all times, leading to increased stress level. And also, because fewer people work at night, each person is usually responsible for more tasks than a daytime employee would be. Studies also show that workload affects spatial awareness. I'm going to explain that later on to you, if you remind me, because we have quite a lot to run through now.
But what does that mean?
You know, when you talk about spatial orientation and spatial awareness, I mean, when you're sitting in a cockpit and you have no reference, for instance, you know, in the cloud, as you're moving, you don't have a building on your left to say, oh, that's that house that I used to pass when oh, that's that lovely flower in front of this beautiful house that I used to see.
That must be River Niger.
Those are reference points for you when you are moving on the ground. Well, in the skies, you see nothing.
When you're going through the ocean. Just you and the sky and the spirits.
That's correct. And then what happens now? There is this mental thing that it gives to you. You have no way of pinning your finger on which direction you are going, and whether you are going up or you're coming down. It's all in your head.
That's true.
Psychologically speaking. And so it's a very dangerous thing when it happens to pilots when they have what is known as spatial disorientation. In that case, your plane may be heading down, and you will think you are heading up. That's true. And truly, if anybody told you you were heading down, you would never believe it. You may be in a banked position exceeding the angle of roll that you are expected to do safely. You know, when you are banking, it has to be coordinated. Otherwise, if you hit beyond acceptable angle, you stall and fall off the skies. And that's not recoverable once you are in that kind of position. So that spatial awareness is in spite of the fact that you have no reference. Your head is supposed to be together, and it should be able to, with the instruments in front of you, to mentally imagine what you're doing and where you are.
It also happens in driving most times. When you are driving on the Kubwa road, and the road is just good, and you just find your car in the ditch, and you just see road safety, you say, oh God, I don't know what you have. Oh God, the brake worked, but I don't know what you have. Let's go ahead.
Okay, my dear. So, where are we? Okay, we'll just run through very quickly. When pilots get new jobs, I know we've done that. Studies have shown that workload affects, yes. That's the last paragraph. Studies also show that workload affects spatial awareness. Now you understand what it is all about. An essential skill in maneuvering an aircraft through a three-dimensional space with hazards. All right, that's, you know.
Actually, okay. Quickly, five.
Are we there?
Okay, so we're there already. During flight.
Yeah. Yes, workload and overload continues, isn't it? Yeah. During flight, pilots must monitor and control 6 variables. 3 of them: yaw, pitch, and roll. Give me that, and if you just come back to us, because it's important for our viewers to understand this. Can I have our miniature?
Okay.
And then we talked, when you said during flight, pilots must monitor and control 6 variables. And it starts from the first 3. Yaw means this. When turning, left and right.
You pan, we call it panning.
This is
pan left, you pan right.
That's
we
yeah.
call it in
it's your
camera panning left and right.
It's your rudder, that gives you the ability to do your yaw. Then it talks about pitch. That is pitch down, pitch up. Your elevators. You see that those panels that you have right here, that go up and down, known as elevators. That's a misnomer. That name is misleading. It does not elevate the airplane. All it does is pitch you down and pitch you up. Elevation takes place on the wings. All right? Now, the next is roll. Your banking. Your banking is known as roll, that way. So you can actually bank and be in a straight course, but when you step on your pedal and activate your rudder, then you yaw and change direction. That's how it works.
That's true.
Okay. So let's.
At that time, you feel that the plane is going through the hill. You see the ground as a hill anyway.
That's correct. That's correct. Very correct.
I just closed my eyes and started saying.
Right, really very correct.
Okay,
so
quickly,
get back to clip 5. Let's continue. I thought my viewers should understand this perfectly well. We say 3 of them, yaw, pitch, and roll, relate to aircraft axis and are therefore known as orientation variables. The other 3, altitude, of course, by its name, you know what it means, position and lateral deviation, relate to flight path and therefore known as position variables. Monitoring and controlling these variables create a cumulative workload that can lead to poor spatial awareness. This is part of the stress the pilots go. Can you imagine all those 6 variables are right in front of you, and you need to, get them, on check and make sure you are heading to your destination as planned. Now, clip 6, very quickly, please. Here we go.
Fatigue.
Fatigue. The American National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, has suggested that pilots make more procedural and tactical decision errors if they do not get enough sleep. You get that? Pilots must sleep well, and regulators must ensure that those who fly, really had good sleep before coming out in the morning. NTSB reported that from 1974 to 1992, fatigue was responsible for 7.8% of Air Force Class A accidents, 4% of Army accidents, and 4 to 7% of civil aviation accidents were traced to fatigue. Studies also show that fatigue and physical capability are inversely related. As fatigue increases, the capability of the body decreases.
That's true.
Due to the complex operations involved in aviation, avoiding fatigue is challenging. Pilots' alertness and flight safety can be enhanced by planning strategies before and after flights. Taking a nap before a night shift can increase pilot performance. In addition, proper exercise and nutrition help pilots maintain their physical health, which can reduce the negative effects of sleep loss. Let's run quickly to clip 7.
Noise.
Are we there?
Clip 7 is noise.
Noise. Research by experts shows that noise can cause physical stress and long-term health risks, such as hearing impairment, annoyance, and sleep disturbance, all of which can decrease performance. According to International Organization for Standardization, that is IOS, sound below 70 decibels will not cause hearing impairment for 95% of people. However, safe volume thresholds vary based on age and other factors. It follows that hearing impairment can be caused not only by noise during flights, but also by leisure activities such as listening to music. At between 55 and 60 decibels of sound, 40% of office workers can have the psychosocial effect of annoyance, which also decreases performance. So those who turn themselves into chatterboxes in offices should be mindful, especially in aviation, in the aviation world. You don't want to anger anyone. Everybody's got to be in sane mood to do the job and do them properly. Clip 8 very quickly.
Your time is flying.
Will soon be done.
Continue.
Yes. The noise continues. Sleep disturbance is another effect of noise. Types of sleep disturbance include changes in the cardiovascular system, changes in sleep patterns such as increased sleep latency time and premature awakening, decreased depth of sleep, increased motility during sleep, changes in subjectively experienced sleep quality, and then changes in the hormonal and immune systems. IOS study further determined that noise affects pilot performance by increasing arousal, decreasing attention to tasks, and altering strategic choices. Noise can also mask signals in the cockpit.
Correct.
That is the most dangerous of them all. It's the most dangerous of them all because you must keep your ears open to hear instructions from the control tower. Otherwise, if you do the wrong thing, you may put yourself on the path of other airplanes, and then there will be an airborne collision. You don't have that, do you?
Oh no, no one prays for that.
All right, let's get to clip 9 very quickly, and we'll be done in a minute.
Temperature.
Temperature. Stress caused by ambient temperature is called thermal stress. Military pilots are known to experience this more as cockpit temperature in war jets can quickly rise by 10 degrees Celsius in spite of the war jet cockpit being equipped with environmental control systems. The Air Force is of the opinion that cockpit temperature can actually exceed 45 degrees. That's horrible, isn't it?
It's horrible. And the man is fully on khaki.
Yeah, and all the gadgets.
All the gadgets, yeah, you're sweating.
Yeah, which can degrade both mental and physical performance of the pilot. When an aircraft operates close to the ground at high speed, the aerodynamic heating of the aircraft's surface increases temperature in the cockpit, causing decreased pilot performance. Clip 10 quickly. Oh, no, we're there. We're there. I think we just did with temperature.
Temperature.
That's it.
Oh, but that may not be it here, because I got some questions for you.
Oh, right. Go ahead.
Managing sleep here. How do you manage sleep? Because I know for some of our domestic airlines here, you see some of the foreign airlines once they drop, the likes of the British Airways, the likes of the Emirates, the likes of some other airlines here, they quickly get the air hostess, get the pilots to quickly rush to go and take some sleep here. But in case of our own, I will tell you that the flight that you are supposed to board for an 8 p.m. flight is still very busy in Port Harcourt, and it's coming to Abuja. And when you arrive, you find that the man is tired, and they just keep running around.
I think you're mixing up things a little bit.
Because they won't have enough.
No, you are from the way you sounded right now. I find you comparing oranges with apples.
But can't we set a global standard?
No, what I'm saying,
are they made by a different God? Are we made by a lesser God?
Let me tell you why I say so. I'm not talking about the people I'm talking about international flight versus local flight. You just talked about, when a flight is supposed to be at 8 o'clock, they say it's still, about to leave Port Harcourt for Abuja and the rest of them. And then you're comparing that with intercontinental flight that just got in, and people are rushed to the hotels to go and sleep and stuff. Now, that's why I describe it as comparing oranges with apples. Now, for intercontinental flights, you do straight minimum, sometimes 5 hours or 6 hours, some as long as 12 hours, and as the case may be. And then, of course, once you do that long haul and land, of course, you want to run to your hotel to clean up and have some sleep. Yeah, that's fine. But for those who are running locally, doing not more than 1 hour at a time, They are regulated. That's a number of hours you put in, then another crew. As a matter of fact, I was in Lagos last weekend. I must be frank with you. I don't want to call the airline because they haven't paid for that advert. I saw them doing pretty well. The crew that brought in the airplane were boarding. I saw them leaving. Another crew got in, and what I admired most in that was the co-pilot was a very young, smart-looking lady. No, I'll tell you why I was thrilled. Her age. She shouldn't be more than 25. She was quite young. And I really admired her confidence in sitting by the co-pilot seat.
Okay, I thank you very much, Mr. Godwin. Eniki, our time is up for this morning. What are we looking at? Just in 1 second. What are we looking at?
A friend of mine called in from, not just a friend, my follower on YouTube, called in from Texas. And then asked a few questions about aviation fuel. And I was like, what about aviation fuel? And say it got me a little confused about why can't airplanes?
Okay.
So we'll be looking at aviation fuel.
Okay, thank you very much. We're looking at aviation fuel. I'll come next week Monday. 8 a.m.
It's awesome.
8 a.m. We're looking at that, and you have to go through all the components of the fuel as against your conventional petrol and diesel.
That's correct. Thank you. And let's do it again next week, my dear viewers.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of the program, producer Al-As and Bala, the crew behind the console here, the camera crews you cannot see around here, we thank you and wish you all the very best of the day. Do have a wonderful working week ahead.